So today we're going to be working on a dumbbell routine you can do with a bench. So all these are going to be a bench supported exercise set. If that sounds good to you, hit that like button for me to let me know you want more of this type of content, and it helps support the channel. So thank you for that. So if you're here to join me on our fitness journey, or on my fitness journey, we're trying to build up muscle. So if that sounds good to you, love to have you back here. I host these live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So we're gonna be using a set of dumbbells and a bench. And we're gonna start by warming up. So we're gonna start with a classic exercise, working the chest and tricep. So for a warm up, I'm gonna grab a slightly lighter dumbbell than I would normally use, doing a specific muscle warm up. So you can do a general warm up, something like jumping jacks or a little bit of jogging to help get everything a little warmed. But what I've found helps me is actually doing the same exercise I'm going to be doing at a slightly lower weight to prime those muscles to get them ready to work. So I'm grabbing a slightly lighter dumbbell and I'm going to do about 10 reps at a lighter weight. For a dumbbell bench press, I'm gonna bring my hands to shoulder width and I'm gonna pinch my shoulder blades together. I can sort of rock my shoulders back, and that gives me a strong foundation where I'm opening up that chest. From here, I'm gonna bend my elbows, bringing the dumbbells to the outside of my chest. I want them in here close to the middle of my chest. I wanna bring them wide out to my chest and then back up. So this really opens up that chest muscle, really stretches it. So I'm not only tensioning the muscle with weight, I'm bringing it all the way down to that full range of motion, all the way down to my chest, where I'm working the entire muscle of that chest. I'm not doing just this small half rep. I'm working the entire length, lengthening that chest muscle. Now, this shouldn't be tiring yet. The mistake I used to make is trying to go straight into heavy weights and feel tired by that first reps. Not a good idea to start with. You're much more prone to injury. I've hurt my shoulder doing that before. So I'd recommend starting with a lighter dumbbell where you're not gonna feel tired at the very beginning. You should feel just fine in the first set. It's just like a car. You wouldn't want to go take a cold car engine, turn on the key and just hit the gas and go. You're more likely to break something in your car doing that. So the same thing with your body. We're priming it, getting it ready to work out. Your heart rate should be starting to pump a little bit more. And you should feel a little more warmed up in your joints and in your tissue. That's why we warm up with the exercises we're going to be doing to get some blood flow into those shoulders before we then start working them a little harder. So the second exercise we're gonna do is a bench supported row. Now this works the lat muscles along your back and some of those bicep muscles as well. So you're gonna put your hand right underneath your shoulder and let your arm hang down towards the ground. So trying to keep your back straight and let your arm fully hang. From here, you're gonna pull up to your rib cage and then all the way back down. Doing 10 reps each side to warm up those lats, working the back muscle. And same thing on the other side. And I like about doing the supported row rather than a standing row is, especially if you have any sort of discomfort in your back or in your low back, it can help take that pressure off of your low back because your arm is here helping support your body weight. I can really focus in on just the muscles working on my rowing arm. I like to do exercises in pairs called supersets, where we're working one side of the joint and then the other side. So we're keeping balance between those two sides. And it also lets you get through a workout much faster because you don't have to wait between sets nearly as much. Well, one side's working, the other side's resting, and then the other side's working and the front is resting. I used to work out for 2+ hours trying to get everything in. Now, what I do is actually just pair exercises into complementary sets. That lets me get through a workout much faster. So I now moved up to our heavier dumbbells. So this is my full working weight for these dumbbells. And that just means this is where I start counting sets. So I'm gonna try for a couple sets of these, depending on how the muscle feels. The more I can do, the better. Now I'm aiming for about 80% effort on this, actually. Rather than going the full 100%, because I can get most of the benefits muscle-wise without building up a ton of extra fatigue. So that's something that also has changed for me in how I work out. I used to always go absolutely 100%, but because of that, my workouts would leave me so sore and banged up that I would miss workouts later in the week because I was still sore, still all hurting from the previous workout. Now I aim for where I could do maybe 1 or 2 reps at the end of each exercise. So if I did 10 reps, that means I could maybe have done 11 or 12. And that's called reps in reserve. So I'm trying to leave 1 or 2 reps in reserve on any exercise that I'm doing. And that makes it so I can actually work out more often, more frequently, and over time, if I treat this more like a marathon rather than a sprint, I can build up more muscle over time. To use the metaphor, if it's like a workout is a mile, it's not about how fast you do each mile, it's how many miles you can stack up. 10. Same thing on the other side. Now you might get a little bit more from a workout going all the way to that 100%, but if it causes you to miss out on an entire workout later in the week, let's say I did 10% more work out of one workout, but missed an entire second workout for that muscle, it means I lost half of the value of that week for just 10% more gain. And that's not good math. Now, I think you need to know where that limit is, where your body's really pushing hard. That's called muscle failure, where you can't lift the weight up again. It's important to know where that number is. But once you know where that number is, how many reps and how much weight that takes, it's good to actually back off away from that number. It's kind of counterintuitive, but it took me a long time to realize that, and I wish I had younger, but having done this now, I'm seeing more growth and less discomfort, less pain in my body. I just wish I had known this sooner. I could have saved myself a lot of aches and pains and gotten a lot more muscle in that time. So I'm here to help you learn from my mistake. Don't do it how I did it, because I'd rather you guys get through this faster and build up muscle quicker. So going a little less hard, not quite so close to failure, but being able to work out more frequently, being able to fit 1 or 2 or even 3 workouts in a week. So I'm not going absolutely to failure on this exercise, but I'm trying to do pretty close to it within a rep or 2. So I should feel that tension in the muscle. I should feel that burning at the end of this set. Might feel a little bit shaky in your joints, or shaky in the muscle, I should say. Whew. Gonna take just a quick second. So I'm trying to emphasize more of the muscles in my arms. I like starting with the compound movements where I'm working my chest, my arms, my back, all at once. Then we're gonna move to more isolation movements where it's focusing in on the muscles in the bicep and the tricep, and then some in the shoulder. We're gonna do all bench supported today. I have a new exercise for the bicep that I'm excited to try. Not new, but new to me, new to the street. All right, so I was set number 2 of chest press. Going for set number 2 of supported row. So something I'm trying to do is keep my chest pointed straight at the bench. So I'm not letting it rotate where I'm using my spine. I'm trying to lift from that shoulder up. It fully hang, but not rotate from my spine. Good way of doing that is by engaging your core, not letting your hips move. That was 10, right? I think that was 10. It's hard to talk and count. 1. Now something I do is actually look up. So that helps me keep my back straight. And 10. I know some people use wraps for especially rows because it helps with your grip, not being limited by your forearm. I can tell you a little bit of, especially doing rows, I feel right up here tires out faster sometimes as I get later in these sets. I'm giving myself a little bit more time to let my actual grip recover. Even if I'm doing bench press or doing rows, I have to rely on my grip so it doesn't really get a break, which is good because it means we're building up some of those forearm muscles as well. I want to make sure that that's not my limiting factor. I'm going to take just a moment between and then go in for the last set of bench press. I used to be much more limited in my grip, but because I would actually, I would grip so hard that this would completely fatigue out before everything else. I used to train in martial arts, and so you would make a tight fist for any sort of punches or strike. I didn't realize this, but I was actually, anytime I was lifting, I was just gripping the weight as hard as I possibly could. And so all of these muscles just tired out so fast. Now I have my grip a little bit more relaxed, just hard enough where I'm in control of the weight. So I don't death grip the weight where I'm white knuckling it. I just have it secure where it's firm in my hands, but not so hard that I'm burning out my hands and my grip strength right away. See, like here, I wouldn't say I'm loose gripped, but I'm just enough where that weight's not shifting on me. It's not moving around. Just have a gentle grip around my thumb and pointer finger. 9, and last one, probably a little closer to failure than I want to be. Maybe a half rep. So, third set of supported row. So hand underneath your shoulder, letting this arm hang straight down. Now, there's 2 different ways you can do this. I'm doing the standard grip, where my thumb is pointed up towards the front. You can also do this way, where the thumb is pointed in this direction. And that's gonna emphasize more these muscles up here in the shoulder, as opposed to the muscles down here in the back. So I'm looking for more of that back muscle down lower in the shoulder. So I'm doing a standard grip, pulling up to my rib cage. I'm driving my elbow straight back. 8, 9, and 10. And same thing on the other side. 4, I'm trying to keep the reps matched on both sides. 5, meaning I do the same amount of reps. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that way I grow proportionally. I'm not building up more on one side than the other. See that sometimes with people who do things like bowling, where one side is getting all the work and their opposite side doesn't get as much. They might overdevelop a little bit on one side. We're trying to keep even reps on both sides. So now we're going to go into a supported curl. This is for the muscles in the upper arm. I'm gonna drop down the weight to a lighter dumbbell for this because this is a much smaller singular joint movement. So I'm adjusting the bench to about 60 degrees. So for this, I'm gonna lean back so my back is flat against the bench with my elbows tucked tight into my sides, right against my rib cage. What that's gonna do is make sure my elbow doesn't flare anywhere and where I can cheat the movement. I'm keeping those elbows tucked in and then I'm bringing the dumbbell out towards the front like this, to where when my elbow is straight, it is still pushing straight down on my arm. That's the advantage of this bench, is having my back flat against it means I can't cheat. Gravity is actually helping support my chest against the bench. And when my arms are all the way straight, I still have maximum tension on that bicep muscle. And that's what's gonna grow that muscle more effectively, is that tension on the bicep. So I can start from here, back flat, going out and back up. So elbows tucked in, doing about 10 reps of these. Should feel that tension down here in the bottom of the movement. Just wanna have my legs out of the way. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Feel that burn right here in the bicep, in the front of your arm. Now, if you want to increase this, you can actually put the bench lower. The flatter that bench is, the more tension you're going to experience. So if I was down here like this, laying on my back, that's gonna be a lot more tension for that bicep. This is a little bit too much for me at the moment. B2, good to see you. Welcome to the live stream. So we're talking about bench supported curls. I have done these in the past, laying on my back. It's like this and down. But I find for me, I'm gonna take a little bit more time to build that up because I feel like I start losing control very rapidly on that movement. I'm doing a more elevated version of these and working my way up to it. Who says, I'm moving to college soon and there isn't any gym access there. I'm super scared of losing gain. Oh man, yeah, I can understand that. You don't want to lose all that progress you put all that work into. So, great thing about keeping the muscle mass you have, it takes a lot less work to keep muscle mass than it does to build muscle mass in the first place. I can understand it's hard if you don't have a gym. What you might do is look into some body weight exercises you could do. Like instead of doing bench press, you could do push-ups or pull-ups for any sort of rowing movement. Any body weight routines you'd recommend? Yeah, so for chest and tricep, you could do push-ups. I'm a little bit tired on my chest right now, but doing push-ups like this, where your elbows tuck in. You could even, if you can find even a tree, you could grab onto a tree branch and work on doing pull-ups with it. So pulling up and then slowly dropping down, accentuating the negative, really going for high reps. And that'll keep a lot of the muscles in your upper body maintained. Just focus on high reps since you don't have the weights and still maintaining. I know you're pretty good about keeping diligent with your workout. I'd recommend trying to maintain the same number of sets and just add those extra reps to maintain. That's a great question though. You can also, for legs, work on body weight squats or doing a split squat where one foot's up on like a chair and then squat. Whoop, this is a little too high for me, but doing that squat, I need something a little lower than that. So it'd be one foot up on a chair and then squatting down to the ground. A split squat, great for your legs and keeping that muscle mass in your legs. It's a good question. Thanks for asking. I know that's hard when you don't have equipment. Something I do recommend to people, especially in a place where they don't have access to a lot of heavy equipment, I do really like getting a set of resistance bands because they're light, they're pretty versatile. They don't take up a whole lot of space for like a dorm room or an apartment. And you can do a lot of exercises with them, and they're not super expensive. So in the short term, they can maintain muscle really well. You can build muscle with them. You just usually have to focus a little bit more on high reps rather than high weight because you're limited by the tension of the band. Oh, but that's usually only when you get to the really advanced levels. It's another great way of doing things. I'd recommend push-ups and pull-ups. If you can do 3 sets 3 times a week, it will be a great way of even building a little bit of strength or at least maintaining the strength you have. For now, we're gonna go back to our bench workout. Let me know if you have any more questions though. That's such a good question. I'm so proud of you for maintaining your gains as part of your schedule, because I know that's tough, especially when you're going to school or college. It's tough to prioritize that, and I'm so proud of you that you are. If you take just those 3 exercises, the pull-up, the push-up, and the split squat, and do 3 sets 3 times a week, that's a great way of maintaining the muscle mass you have in your body. All right, doing what are called skull crushers. I'm starting with my hands right above my shoulders, elbows tucked in. I'm gonna bring my hands down to my ears, feeling that in my tricep, pushing out towards the front. I'm really trying to bend at my elbow, keeping those elbows high. How can I target my biceps while doing body weight workout? I really don't know which exercise give a deep stretch, like behind the back cable curls. So that's a good question. So for doing a deep stretch for a bicep, what you could do is instead of doing pull-ups where your hands are out like this, you could go underhand doing a supinated pull-up or a chin-up are the 2 names for it, because that's going to get you more of that bicep lengthening as you pull and then come back. You get much more of that biceps brachii involved. So if you're doing a chin-up instead, it'll be a little less lat and a little bit more bicep. And it's a great variation of a body weight exercise. So if you're looking only body weight, no equipment, I would recommend the chin up, because that will get you that bit more of that bicep. You could also find you could take a jug of water and do curls with the jug of water. Just make sure it's sealed, because that's going to be pretty heavy. Water is very heavy, and you could like even do hammer curls with it, or if you have one with a handle on it, you can do curls with a water jug, like one of those big multi-gallon water jugs. Just make sure it's not gonna pour out in your dorm or anything, but I have known some people to do that where they do unconventional weights, but they work just as well. I'm gonna set this back up to that 60 degrees. So anything that straightens that elbow is gonna hit that bicep where you're straightening the elbow under load. That's why when you're in this position of the chin up, so when my hands are like this, I'm fully lengthening those biceps under tension. And that's gonna help you with that bicep development a bit better. You could imagine this is a jug of water. You can do bicep curls with something like this. It doesn't have to be a dumbbell. You just make sure your palm is up, so something with a handle that you can lift like this. Just brainstorming what we might be able to use. I've actually, working with a client one time for a knee extension, what we did was we put a dictionary on the top of her toes, and she kicked out her feet with keeping the dictionary on the top of her legs for the weight. And for her, that was enough for her quad development, for that knee extension with just a heavy book. Something that's got a good weight to it. Probably, I know you've been working out for a bit, so a book is not gonna be quite heavy enough for you, But you could even take like a bicycle, do curls with the crossbar of a bicycle. Because that one, the wheel actually acts as a pivot point for you already. If the bike's heavy enough, if it's a steel frame bike, you could do that, holding onto the handlebars, doing curls that way. The hard part is finding something sufficiently challenging. 9 and 10. So if you guys are liking this type of content and want to see more, I host these live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Hit that subscribe button and the bell to be here live, where we can talk about what you're going through and see if I can help you in any way figure out a workout that works well for you. And I'm still thinking about B2's question. That is such an interesting question, because biceps are a little hard to isolate with a body weight exercise. You could do something like this where it's a row, but this is probably not going to be as tiring on your bicep as it is on your lats. Yeah, let me think. And that is such a good question. I really like that you asked it. I have to think about that one to see if I can get you a better answer. What you could do is, if you have a backpack, so I know this is not body weight, but it's something you might have at a university. You've got a backpack, you could load it up with books and then do bicep curls with the backpack. It's something you would already have going to school, and usually it's heavy enough. Just load it up with some books that you can get a good bicep curl from it. Just make sure you've got the right angle where elbows tucked in at your sides is when your elbow's extended. Hand is gonna be where gravity's pushing down on it. You don't want your down here, you want it to be out here. It's gonna get you some of that bicep activation using a backpack. You could do it that way. It's not quite body weight, but it is a more common item to have around. We're gonna keep on going. This is our second set of skull crushers. I'm going until I feel tired in that tricep. 9 and 10. I'm going for more than 10 because I don't quite feel tired in that tricep yet. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There we go. Lars says, good stuff, Greg. Hey, thank you, Lars. Thank you for your encouraging words, and so happy to see you here. All right, going back for a third set of bicep curls using a supported bench. Now, if you want to increase the challenge of this, you can just drop the depth of this a little bit. So the lower you are with this bench, the more challenging it's gonna be at the same weight. I'd like, just at minimum though, you want it to be far enough back where gravity is helping pull your shoulders flat against that bench. I don't wanna be sitting all the way up like this. I wanna be a little bit back. I like to go at least 60 degrees on this exercise. Elbows are gonna be tucked into my sides, hands out to the front. I want them down here like this, where my gravity is just pulling my shoulders straight down. I want them up to the front slightly, to keep tension on that muscle the whole time. Keeping my back flat against the bench and my hands pulling up towards the front. Should feel that working my bicep through the whole movement. So I'm keeping those elbows tight into my rib cage. And 10. Now I know it's a challenge sometimes if you don't feel like you have the exact perfect gear, or if you don't have a gym near you. If you have any questions about how to make your gear work for you with your dumbbells, kettlebells, resistance bands, or just body weight, I'm always here to help. Sometimes I will have to think about an answer, but I'll do my best to find a thing that works well for you. I worked at a adaptive physical activity center where we had to work with what we had and figure out what was going to work for each client as an individual. So a lot of practice at that. I used everything from textbooks and dictionaries as weights to even using something like water resistance, where we're in a pool using the pool as resistance and weight. We actually had flotation weights, where instead of having gravity provide the resistance, you were trying to push a weight into the water, and that buoyancy was actually pushing you back up. So that was actually one of the hardest workouts I've ever done. is what's called a deep water exercise workout, where you go underwater and are pushing the flotation device down into the water, trying to do reps that way. It was so intense that even I was doing it with water polo players, collegiate water polo team was doing that workout with me. All of us were out on the side of the pool just gasping for air by the end of it, even the people that are used to being underwater a ton. So, man, I wish I could buy those adjustable weights. I hear you. I would highly recommend these. The Nordic Track adjustable dumbbells. There is an affiliate link down below if you have the means to buy them. It doesn't cost you any extra through Amazon, but it gives me a small commission on that. If you would like to support the channel, that's a great way of doing it, but I understand they are expensive. If you don't have weights like these, we can figure out other options for you. I would recommend trying using a backpack loaded up with books. It's a little harder to switch between weights, but you can get the same effect of doing that curl with a backpack. When I first started, I didn't have these. I just had a couple weight plates and that was it. And that's why I did a lot of work at the beginning with. Now I made other mistakes at the beginning of my training where I pushed too hard, too fast, got injured more often. But it's about figuring out what's gonna work for you. And if I can help you do that, I'd love to do whatever I can. For those who tried, let me know how that goes. I'd love to hear back if that's working well, if you're seeing that bicep maintain or even grow. So this is set number 3, I believe. I will say, for doing this on stream, it's a lot easier to have the adjustable dumbbells because I can get from one weight to the next very quickly without having to worry about adjusting the weight. And if you were going for a set of dumbbells, this is definitely a much more economical way of doing it. I had priced it out. It would cost me twice as much to buy a individual dumbbell for each of these weights compared to the adjustable dumbbell, which is I think only $300 or $400 comparatively. It would cost me closer to $1,000 to buy a whole set of dumbbells to do what these do. 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm just going till I feel tired. 13, 14. All right, 14. Now, I will say another option is something like, hang on. Another thing you can do is the resistance bands like these. If you wanted to do a bicep curl with these, I think these for a good set of them are between 30 and 40 bucks for a full set. And if you know how to use them, you can do all the same workouts with a resistance band. So if I wanted to do curls with this, I put one foot out in front so it's pulling me a little bit forward. So I'm not here where the band is pulling straight down. It's pulling a little forward, and that's gonna let me do that same curl doing a resistance band. And those are a lot easier to get a hold of. It's a lot cheaper. Now there are limitations on these and you have to be have a little bit more know-how or follow a tutorial for how to use them. But if you know how to use them effectively, you can get just as good of a workout with a resistance band. And I have links down below for these as well if you're interested, because it's important to get a good set of these, because I have bought some where the resistance was not very correct, where it would say, oh, it's a 10-pound resistance band, but I could feel it's more like a 5-pound resistance band because they're cheap and not well calibrated. These ones are I think they're called Black Mountain resistance band. There's a link down below. And I have bought multiple sets of these because they're so good. They last for years. They've lasted me years, and they have kept a solid, consistent resistance. So they are another great option if you're looking to work out, you have limited space for storage, or you're in a dorm where you can't really have heavy weights. It's a great option for that, where you can still maintain muscle strength. I think we were on set 4. I'll stop talking and keep working out. A lot of good questions, so I want to make sure that I address them and help people if I can. If you are purely body weight, or you don't have any other options, I would say chin-ups are your best bet. All right, Is this set 3 or 4? Man, getting a little bit tired, I can tell, because we've been going for a little while. We're gonna, I think we'll probably finish with these. So going to the front, so you're putting tension on that bicep, pulling up towards the front. So back flat against the bench. I'm not going up like this, where I can swing, keeping that head and hips flat against that bench. 10, I'll try one more, 11. Whew. I think that's this. We're gonna do one more set of tricep. If you're enjoying this workout and wanna see more and wanna support the channel, hit that subscribe button for me so you can be here live where we can talk about what's going on with your workout. Or if you're looking for tips and tricks or what I'm doing, I am doing all of my workouts on live. So I'm not telling you to do one thing and then doing another in private. What you see is what you get. This is how I think is best to work out, and just staying very upfront and genuine with you guys. The process is slow. It doesn't happen overnight, but we can see in real time how much muscle this can grow and how my physique changes. If you're looking for strength, muscle mass, health, or physique, showing how to do a hypertrophy workout to build muscle. I do not have great genetics for physique, and I'm working hard to overcome that by working out as effectively as I can. If you're in the same position, if it works for me, it will probably work for you too, because I don't have good genetics for this. My goal is to have a 6-pack by 40, which is in a couple of years from now. I'm in my late 30s. Only ever had a 6-pack once in my life, and that was because I had the flu. I want to get back to that again, but genetics are working against me on that one, but I'm not gonna let that stop me. So if you like this workout and want to see more, hope to see you next time. Hit that like button for me to let me know you want more content like this. So thank you for being here and hope to see you next time.